Hello everybody. A new video, and I'm doing a camera review, sort of. This is the Nikon J5. The Nikon 1 is Nikon's mirrorless camera series. Well, it's one of two. They've got the 1 series, which is more prosumer and enthusiast, and there's the Z series, which is more professional. And you can, if you look them up on their website, you can see this, the Z series are clearly more professional looking cameras. The big difference between the two is this uses, the Z series uses a full frame sensor, so that's the digital sensor, and the camera itself is sized like a 35mm film frame, whereas this has got I think it's a 2/3 size sensor, so it's smaller. There's no inherent problem with this, to be honest with you. It just means that these will generally lag behind the full frame series in terms of resolution they can offer. But then again, they're prosumer, they're not designed for professionals. It also means that if you want to use Nikon f-mount lenses, you have to get an adapter ring, which I think is about 30 or 40 euros. I'm sure they're coming down in price. So now the reason why I'm specifically doing a review of this is because they've discontinued this series. As of last year, they stopped manufacturing the 1 series to focus on the Z series, but there's still a lot of these around, and there's still a lot of the lenses designed for these because their native lens type is the Nikon 1 lens mount. So, and you might get a good deal on them. So I'm going to take you through the good and bad points of this camera and offer a cautionary tale, because I do believe I was scammed when I bought this camera. So, where do we begin? I bought this camera 3 years ago. It just come out. The box had, I was in Dixon's, of all places, Curry's PC World, looking at their cameras. I know it's probably not the best place to buy cameras, but there you go. But anyway, what I wanted was a camera with 4K video and remote shutter release. That was kind of important because I like to dabble in nighttime photography and landscape shots. Now I do have a Canon EOS SLR, which I love, but it's big and it's clunky, and I wanted something I could take with me on holiday without having to take an extra bag full of camera gear. So this seemed to tick all the boxes. And it's a decent enough camera, except for a few significant flaws. So let's have a look at some of the standout features. It's got this nice fold-out screen, which is good for selfies, and if you're at a sporting event, you're trying to get above everyone's head to take a shot, so you can have the screen like that and hold it above your head. It's 21 megapixels resolution, which is fine for most people. It has full manual control, so you got your shutter priority and aperture priority, all the usual features, and it's all fully controllable. There's also slow motion video, which is not very good because it's limited to a few seconds and it doesn't use the full frame. What else? There's no microphone input, which is kind of annoying for a camera that was sold as being good for video. HD video on this is okay, it's perfectly fine. But it was advertised as having 4K, and as you can see here, it says 4K movie. It doesn't have 4K video. Well, it does, but it's at 15 frames per second, which makes it very jittery. To me, if you're going to say it does video and be honest about it, it should at least do 24 frames per second and above. It doesn't. 15 frames. So that's why I kind of feel I was scammed a bit, because nowhere on the box does it say it's only 15 frames per second. And if you head on to had a look around YouTube, you'll find that Nikon produced a video, bigging up this camera, and there's some professional photographer talking about how it was a cinematic masterpiece and the 4K video was amazing. And of course there's other camera reviews on YouTube which seem to be quite positive of the camera, and of course, but then you realise they're actually from people who sell cameras for a living, so you have to take that with a pinch of salt. So yeah, the 4K video is terrible. It's useless. It's worthless. The lack of a microphone input is also a bit of an issue. So if you want to get good quality sound, because the microphone isn't the best, you should be using like a secondary audio recorder. Battery life, not too bad. If you charge it up in the morning, you could spend all day taking photographs and you'll still have life in the battery at the end of the day. It has a pop-up flash, which kind of has a mind of its own. Yeah, I can't get it up. The zoom is weird because you got this ring which is quite stiff, and as you can see it sort of goes in steps. It's very hard to get fine grain, and the motoring is very noisy, so if you're doing video and you move the zoom ring, you'll pick up motor noise. Even with a secondary recorder, it's just that loud. Here we go. You can hear that. Also, it's hard to get smooth zoom because of this stepping issue, so you can't get nice smooth zooms in and out. The other issue was the remote control. Now, it claimed that it could be fully controlled through their app, and the app itself is terrible. I mean, really, I would expect more from Nikon. It looks like it was a prototype that was released to market without any refinement. First of all, yes, you can take pictures remotely, but only on full auto mode. You have no creative control of the picture taking if you use the app. And it doesn't matter what settings you have here. You'd think, well, maybe I've set it to shutter priority, take a 1 second exposure and press the button in the app and it should remember and use those settings. No, it doesn't. It just defaults to auto settings no matter what you do, which is weird because it does come with very long exposures. You can set it anything from 1/6000th of a second up to 30 seconds. And if you're going to take long exposures, you need a way to remotely trigger the shutter, otherwise you're going to get blurring. And there doesn't appear to be any way of doing it. And I would have thought it would have been a feature they could have easily added to the app, but they didn't. Another issue with the app is that it lets you download photographs from your camera onto your phone. It does in a most painfully slow way. What it does is it downloads all the images. When you load the app, it downloads all the images and then produces thumbnails on your device. And then the images you want to get, it downloads them again. So it means, say if you're downloading a couple of thousand photographs, it could take half an hour, 45 minutes. It's just... downloading big images is a slow process, but they've literally doubled the length of time it needs to be done because of their weird thumbnail generation process. You think that the thumbnails could be generated on the camera and thus make them a lot smaller, and so instead of downloading a 3, 4, 5 megabyte JPEG file, sorry about the wind noise by the way, the door's open, the camera could generate like a 5 kilobyte thumbnail and just massively speed things up. But yeah, it's just Nikon didn't do their quality control properly, unfortunately. So yeah, I do feel I was kind of scammed a bit because, like I say, the box said it had the features I wanted. The review said it had the features I wanted. But yet when I got it home and waited a few months before actually trying them out, I found, oh, they didn't have the features I wanted, which is unfortunate. I should have checked as soon as I got home. And of course, yes, I should have checked the detailed specifications beforehand, but I trusted Nikon. And that's the thing, is camera manufacturers are kind of, they're the sort of companies that really do depend on a good reputation. You see people who are Nikon guys and Canon guys and Olympus guys, and they invest heavily in one particular system. And they'll spend fortunes buying all the gear because they're loyal to that brand. And the brands they know that changing little things or altering little things will really annoy their customers, so they go to great lengths to make sure that their cameras are reliable and they work as expected, and they don't feel like they're scamming or they're not misleading the customers. And I feel like I was kind of misled with this, because it's a great stills camera. Still image quality is bang on the money. HD video, again, is perfectly fine, but the 4K video is unusable, and the Wi-Fi app is terrible. It's just completely not fit for purpose. So there you go. That's the cautionary tale. If you're buying stuff, think it through, really. God, you got to go and check those specifications yourself. Don't rely on anyone else to say, yeah, it does it. Because at the end of the day, someone could say this camera does video, if it's basically stringing 2 or 3 frames per second together into a video file, that's technically true. So you really need to sort of dig into the specifications and yourself, and to work, to see what the truth is, because even for someone like me who prides himself on usually being very careful about his purchasing decisions, I fell for this. But that being said, if you see one of these on sale, the remaining stock on sale with the lenses, for a good price, yeah, it's a great stills camera. It's lightweight, durable, but as a video camera, there are much better options out there. So I'll leave it at that. Take care.